22 minutes to 8.
We already pay duty on alcohol and cigarettes, but a number of charities are calling for a tax on sugary drinks. A report out today suggests the government could raise £1 billion a year by introducing a levy of 20 pence a litre.
The food and farming charity Sustain says the money could be spent on free school meals or measures to encourage children to eat fruit and vegetables.
A treat, a pick-me-up, or empty calories. Calories that might be adding to the number of children and adults who are seriously overweight. Campaigners say a tax on them could be used to promote healthy eating.
The only benefit of most sugary drinks to children or adults alike is the excess calories they provide. And that's not a benefit because we actually have an obesity crisis in this country.
They want the money from that tax to pay for teaching children about healthy food and giving all primary school children in England a free school lunch. That happens here in North London, but not in most areas. Some councils believe national funding could make a real difference.
It is expensive. It costs Islington about £2 million a year, but we think it's worth the money. However, given the massive cuts from government affecting councils, having national funding would make it much easier to give kids the kind of food that we'd all want them to have.
But the soft drinks industry told us obesity is a serious and complex problem, but a tax on soft drinks, which contribute just 2% of the total calories in the average diet, will not help address it. The government argues it's encouraging people to make healthier choices. It's reached a voluntary agreement with some soft drink companies to reduce sugar and calories. But it is also keeping an eye on what other countries are doing to tax less healthy drinks and food. Bronwyn Jeffries, BBC News.
Well, with us now, Robin Ireland, Chief Executive of the health charity Heart of Mersey, and Eamonn Butler, Director of the Adam Smith Institute think tank, is in our London studio. Good morning,
Good morning.
to you both.
Morning.
Robin, you would have heard the response there from the soft drink companies saying that actually soft drinks only contribute about, 2% to the average diet, so putting a tax on them wouldn't really work.
Well, the key figure there is average, isn't it? If you take 2% across the whole population, you're going to have different levels of consumption in different parts of the population. And that's the whole point. What we have with obesity and what we have with a whole number of diet-related illnesses is differences across the community. And we're obviously very concerned when we find children now, when they leave primary school, 1 in 3 are overweight and obese. Now, in children's diets in particular, the consumption of sugary drinks is much higher than that.
But why not just try and support measures to encourage parents not to give their children sugary drinks rather than tax them for it?
We need both, don't we? And it doesn't work just encouraging people to do things. They need much more support to do that. And I think you'll find that where I live and work in Liverpool and across here in Manchester, some of the choices that are available to people often aren't the same that you might find in the more leafier parts of southern England, to be quite honest. The environment which we live does encourage what we consume.
So, Eamonn Butler from the Adam Smith Institute, it's not enough just to give people the information. We need to encourage them or maybe discourage them in other ways.
I do wish that politicians would stop trying to micromanage our lives. You know, today it's a tax on fizzy drinks. What's it going to be tomorrow? You know, cake, bread, cheese, who knows? I mean, places like Denmark have had a tax on fatty food, for example, and it ends up being applied to all sorts of things that it wasn't intended to be applied to, and a year later they've actually scrapped it. So I don't think people want yet more micromanagement of their lives. They certainly don't want new taxes, and they certainly don't want new bureaucracy.
You would agree, though, there is a significant problem of obesity, especially amongst children, and if we make it sort of harder, if you like, or put some obstacle in the way of them drinking the sort of things that are going to make them obese, that's surely a good idea.
The trouble with sin taxes of any kind is that they tax saints and sinners alike, that if you are very moderate in drinking fizzy drinks, then you get socked with the tax just as other people. Studies on this have shown that in order to make people switch, you know, people have firm favourites in soft drinks, and to make them switch you really have to make it quite a large tax. And then all that happens is that people have other sorts of drinks which aren't actually taxed, and so it doesn't actually do any good in the long run.
Robin, you said that in some areas there aren't alternatives. Well, if you're going to tax something, then you know, what are people supposed to do if there aren't healthy alternatives?
Well, exactly, and we need to encourage those healthy alternatives. But if you think within sugary drinks, you might have 9 teaspoons of sugar. It's absolutely empty calories. Not only does it contribute to obesity, it also contributes to other things like cancer and so on. And of course, in young people, it's also bad teeth. So it's a complete useless source of calories.
But why,
to be quite
why
honest.
punish people with a tax?
It's not punishing, that's
but
the
it is
point.
punishing, isn't it? I mean, it would cost a lot extra on a grocery bill if you're going to tax 20 pence a litre on a sugary
Well, of
drink.
course, what we want to do is people to make those shifts, which is what's happened when we put the price up on tobacco, which is an example. And of course, where it's been done in other countries, I have to say, you do find the food industry does tend to oppose it, because they're there to make a profit, aren't they?
Well, the trouble with this is that it hits the poorest families the first. We don't have VAT, for example, on groceries, food and drink, for very good reasons, which is that they are a major part of the budget of the poorest families. And this is exactly the same, that you're actually hitting the poor. You're not hitting people on high salaries who work for health boards. You know, they wouldn't even notice 20 pence on a litre of fizzy drink, but poorer families certainly do.
All right.
There we
Eamonn
must leave
Butler,
it.
Thanks very much, and Robin, our thanks to you as well. Thank you. Let's leave it there.
And at 7:45, you're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Let's update you on our main news story.